Hi, previously I made a video that showed how to install a replacement speaker cone in a NuTone outdoor patio station. And this example for today is, this is a NuTone, we're going to pretend a little bit. This is actually a NuTone IS405, which is an inside station. It's made exactly the same way as an IS409, which is an outdoor patio station. I didn't have an old patio station for the video, so the only part that's really different, and it doesn't have anything to do with why I'm making this video, is that if we flipped over a real 409, there would be a rubber gasket in front of the board and it would fold over the back of the board. We're not talking about the board today, we're talking about the speaker cone. So in the other video I showed very simply that most NuTone patio stations have plastic grills, and when you go to replace the speaker cone, you simply remove the wires from the terminals, you unscrew the 4 Phillips screws, you pop off the speaker, put the new one on, put the screws back, do the wires, and you're finished. I had a call today from a fellow named Larry. He's in Southern California, and Larry, this video is for you. He has a different kind of speaker. He doesn't have an IS409, he has one of these. This is an IS419. The IS419 was the deluxe fancy metal grilled patio station. This one happens to be in polished brass. They were also available in antique brass and in white, and the white ones are powder coated, which are kind of nice. This is a brand new one, but it is missing the buttons. Someone has swiped them, and I'm going to find out who, because I want my buttons back. Replacing the speaker cone on a 419 is very different than doing it on a 409 because you have the metal grill. And I'm going to show you and Larry specifically how to do this today. Since the IS419 was designed to be a flush mount speaker, it sits in a box that's recessed into the exterior wall of the house, which in today's world is kind of a big no-no because of water infiltration and all those kind of things. It doesn't have a back box that it sits on, so when it would be installed, a good installer would put some silicone sealer around the back edge of the faceplate and then screw it to the wall, and that would help seal it and keep water out. But just in case he didn't do that, or he didn't do a good enough job, NuTone thought enough to put this rubber gaskety material over the working parts of the station. So this large sheet here, it covers over the back of the speaker cone, so if water got down in here, it would run all across the rubber material and not ruin the speaker cone. And then the switchboard down here, it has its cover also, and these little flaps on the end are supposed to fold in, and then this one goes like this, and there actually is there are 2 clips that it came with that clip it here to the circuit board to keep it folded over and all that. We don't care about the circuit board, we don't care about the rubber flap down here. In fact, I'm going to put a piece of tape on this to keep it out of my way. What we're going to do is we're going to show Larry how to remove the speaker cone and replace it with a new one. Okay, so I taped down my rubber gasket to keep it out of my way. And the thing that makes this different than this is this, when you go to take the speaker cone off, you just unscrew the screws and it comes right off. This doesn't have screws. On the back of the metal grill, and yes, it is metal, there are these little posts, and I'll show you close up in a second. There are 4 little posts, and the speaker has slots in it, and it sits down over the post, and then it has these little capture or push nuts that are pushed down over the post to hold the speaker onto the back of the grill with the post. And the push nuts look like, see if we can do this, they look like this. They're these little round disky things, and they have a hole in the middle with this little convex shape, so it can push down over it, but once you push it down in place, it's designed not to work itself loose. So when it comes time to take them off, it's a little bit of a challenge if you don't know how to do this. So here's a close-up of the little post, which is right here in the center, and this round black part here is the push nut, and this sort of gold color part down here is the corner of the speaker cone frame. And what we have to do is we have to get the black push nut off the post without breaking the post. Now, I've seen a lot of people do this a lot of different ways, and the way you do not do this, and I'm going to be real strict about this because people do things wrong all the time, and it's not necessary to damage what you have. If you take a pair of pliers, like here we have a pair of small needle nose pliers, and you put it on the post like this, and you wrench it back and forth and back and forth, guess what you're going to do? You're going to break the post off. And if you break the post off, then there's no way to fix it. There's no post to slide the speaker over, and there's no post to push the capture nut onto. So you're not going to be able to fasten the speaker cone to the back of the grill. Now you do have 4 of them, and if you break one of them, you're going to be okay. And you don't want to ask me why I know that. I just happen to know that for a fact from personal experience, but you don't want to ask. Anyway, there is a proper way to do this, and one of the things that you have to know is if you buy a replacement patio speaker cone from us and you have, oops, lost our focus, and you have a metal grill, a 419 with the push nuts, if you tell us, we will send you new push nuts. Oh, I dropped it, see? New push nuts, there it is. Right there. We'll send you new ones with your speaker cone. In fact, this morning after I talked to Larry, I asked Cindy in the office, how are we doing on push nuts? And she said, we could use some more. So I went online to the company that I buy them from, and I ordered another 1,000. So we're going to have a lot of them in a week. So it's never really much of a problem. So let me go ahead and show you how I do take these apart. And I do this at customers' houses. Now, one of the things I'm going to recommend, which I recommended to Larry, and he made kind of a groaning noise when I told him this, is it's a lot easier to do this if you take your speaker and you lie it down on a flat working surface. If you unscrew this from the outside wall of your house and it's the middle of summer and the heat's blaring down on your white stucco wall and you're almost blinded because it's so bright and it's so hot out there, and you're trying to juggle this on your knee because you didn't want to disconnect the wires from the speaker, you're doing it the hard way. Okay, there's an easy way to do this, and when I do this at people's houses, the first thing I do is I disconnect the wires from the screw terminals so I can take the speaker out to the van, which is parked in front of the customer's house, sit it on a box, on a towel, because we don't want to scratch our shiny brass speaker, because you know it's perfect before we start. If it's got a scratch in it at the end, there's going to be hell to pay. So it's much easier to do it if you have a proper work environment. So before we attack the push nuts, let's talk about disconnecting the speaker. Okay, see, I made all the effort to cover up the switchboard. Now I have to uncover it to show you how to do this. So we'll go ahead and take this apart. Alright, so on the back of an IS419 or any other 6-wire NuTone station, on the switchboard there will be 6 screws where the wires get connected. And apparently along with the buttons, someone swiped 2 of my screws. But I got a lot of those, so that's not a problem. If you look at the screws carefully, and the screws sit on solder pads on the back of the circuit board, next to each screw is labeled what color wire goes under the screw. So over here we have, it says red, here it says red/white, here it says black, here it says black/white, here it says orange, and guess what it says down here? It says orange/white. Well, why does it say that? Well, because real NuTone intercom wire, let's move this out of the way so you can see this better. This is a piece of NuTone IW6. And IW6 is 6 conductor wires, hence the 6 in the model number. And surprisingly enough, our pairs are colored. We have the black-white pair, the red-white pair, and the orange-white pair. And guess where those go? Well, I'm pretty sure that red goes on red, and red-white goes on red-white, and orange goes on orange, and orange-white goes on orange-white, and black-white goes on black-white, and black goes on black. And you see how I mix that up? And no matter how you mix it up, the colors still go on the right screws. It's really simple. If you can see black and you can read black, you got it made. That's all there is to it. Now let's say, for instance, your installer was some nitwit named Earl, and Earl the electrician didn't like doing NuTone intercom systems, or he didn't like doing any kind of NuTone intercom systems, and Earl was cheap and he didn't want to buy a NuTone wire, so he looked in his truck and he had some kind of box of some other kind of wire. And maybe the wire that Earl used, maybe maybe it's got green and yellow and brown and violet and white and I don't know, what's another good color? Blue. How about that? Well, as I always tell people, the electrons don't care what color the wire is on the outside. The electrons only care about going down the wires because that's what electrons like to do. So if you have some other kind of colors of wire, all you have to do is you have to document which color goes where. If you've got violet and yellow and brown and green and I forget what we had, white and blue, all you have to do is you can take a piece of paper, make a little drawing, write down which color wire went there, or if you're going to be really modern about it and everything, whip out that really expensive smartphone that you got, take a couple pictures of it, and it will show you exactly which colors go where. It's not really that hard. Once you've documented your wire colors, all you have to do is loosen the screws and take the wires off. Now it's important when you take the wires off, you of course don't want to have the bare ends on all the wires. Like here we have some bare ends. You don't want all the bare ends all touching and jumbling around and doing things and all like that. All you got to do is keep them a little bit separated like that, and you'll be fine. If you're kind of the nervous type and that bothers you for some reason, even though the whole project's only going to take you 15 or 20 minutes to do, take a little piece of masking tape and take the masking tape and just fold it over the end of the bare wire. That's a good enough insulator for 15 minutes and you don't have to worry about it. So now that we have addressed the wire issue and we have disconnected the wire from the back of our IS419, now, and we've walked it out to the truck, now we're going to get set up to take the push nuts off. Alright, so the first thing, and yes, I retaped my rubber gasket over the switchboard to keep it out of the way. It's annoying. Anyway, the first thing we want to do is we need to remove the wires off, the green wires that come from the switchboard, off the two terminals on the speaker itself. Now, generally speaking, you can just grab these with your finger and wiggle them and they come right off. However, this is a brand new one that's been in the box in the office for who knows how long, so they're not corroded and rusted and all of that stuff. They're like brand new. So sometimes they get a little stuck on there and it's hard to get it off. So what you want to do is you need a pair of needle nose pliers, and I'm going to use these. These are big standard size ones as opposed to the little ones that I normally have on the bench, and I like these just because they're longer. And what you do is, it's really simple. Now what I'll tell you not to do, if you grab it straight on like this and you try to pull it off and you bend the little area right here where the wire is crimped onto the connector, you got like a 50-50 chance of breaking it off the end of the wire, and then you got a problem. So what you want to do is you want to do it more gently, which is instead of pulling and jerking on it, we're going to carefully sort of pry it off. So what you do is you take your needle nose pliers with the tip on the connector and you put the body of the needle nose pliers against the round edge of the magnet like this, and then you pry to make it pop off. See how that worked? Pry to make it pop off. See, let's do that one more time, just so everyone is clear. So take your needle nose pliers, don't stick them on the magnet, grab the connector right next to where the wire is crimped into it, place the side of the needle nose pliers against the side of the magnet, and it's easy because it wants to stick, and then keep moving it. See, we're moving it to my left. Keep moving it to the left. This is your fulcrum. Remember, one of the basic tools of the world, a fulcrum and a lever is basically what this is. And we go like this, and it pops right off. That will remove the most stubbornest speaker connector that you will ever find. And you won't break the end of the connector off, and you won't wreck the speaker cone if you're taking it off for some reason other than replacing it. Okay, now that we have our wires disconnected, now it's push nut time. So we're actually going to do each one. We're going to do all four of them so you can actually see me take the speaker off the back of the grill. And I'm going to try to do each one slightly different than the last one so everybody, Larry, gets a different idea of how you can go about doing this. So the way I start with these is, and you have to remember, the goal here is to not break off the shiny little post, because you need the post to hold the speaker or hold the push nut that holds the speaker. So the first thing I do is I start with a small flat screwdriver. And this is pretty small. This is probably 3/16 of an inch, or it's 2.5 millimeters according to WIA, who made the screwdriver. See, WIA. it's upside down, but it's 2.5. Anyway, what you want to do is, we're going to do this one first because it has the rubber gasket, and that makes it trickier. So what you want to do is, you want to put the small flat screwdriver underneath the edge of the push clip. See, under the edge, it's stuck right now, see it move around? Okay, and what you want to do is, you want to slip it under there, and all you want to do is just pry up a little bit. Now, of course, it'll be quite interesting if I've gone on and on and on about this and I break off a post, but if I do, what are you going to do? You know, if you don't try, you never get it done. And as you may be able to see how much it bends? See, we're not really putting any force on the post, we're just sort of deforming and bending the clip. Once you get the clip up a little bit like that, the way I normally do that is I use a really small pair of wire cutters. These are side cutters that I use when I rebuild boards. These are the smallest ones I have here. And what you do is open the jaws, see, jaws open, slip it over the edge of the clip, see, it's over the edge, and you sort of twist it and squeeze it and bite into it. Did you hear it go click? That's the click of success. Okay, once you do that, then you can bend the clip, because we don't care about the clip because we've got new clips. So we don't care about the old clip. We're going to sacrifice the clip because we don't want to break the post. So with the small, once you get it broken and it breaks, these are made out of fairly brittle metal. So they break pretty easily. So here it is in two pieces. So there's number one, gone. And see, the rubber gasket moves out of the way now. That's better. Okay, so there's one. So let's move this around, get this out of the way, because we don't want to scratch our grill. See if we can get number two lined up here. So here's top number two one right there. This time, I'm going to use a little bigger flat screwdriver. This is also via 4.5 millimeter. See? Can you see it? 4.5. The 4 is kind of worn off, but it is 4.5. This is more of a standard size screwdriver. So again, same idea. You want to get it under the clip, and you got to find that spot that it fits under. And surprisingly enough, sometimes these clips, they're not pushed down all that good. And when you find one that's only pushed down like 90%, oops, tape, that just helps you because you got a bigger space to get it under. Alright. Okay, so again, we just pry it up a little bit. So now we have this bent up lip right here. And instead of using those wire cutters, no, I'll save those. I'm going to use those wire cutters, the little ones again. So I'm going to snip it. Remember, click of success. Okay, you all heard it. And then you can bend it a little bit. Piece broke off. Put it out of the way. Grab it. Another piece broke off. See, if you look at a new one, you can see the circle in the middle, and it's kind of tinted up. And then there's these cuts in it that go off radially from the center. So when you push it down, it flexes open and grabs the post. Well, those little cuts in there, once you snip it and you get the click of success, then there isn't much holding it on anymore, and the pieces just come off. So there's number two. Now that number two is gone, we can take the rubber sheet all the way away. The other thing about the rubber sheet is, if for some reason you happen to tear the holes that go over the post, you can certainly just flip it over to the unused side, which is the top, poke a little hole in it, put it over the post, and you're good to go. Again, we're not building satellites here, we're just fixing an intercom speaker. So we'll put the gasket out of the way. We're halfway done. Now we're going to do number three. So there's number three. Number three doesn't have a gasket in the way, so it's easy to see. I'm going back to my little screwdriver because it works better, and again, I don't want to break the post. So, you know, as whatever it is as it is. We'll pry it up, You know, what I should do is I should actually break a post just to show you, but I'm not going to. So here we have a pair of regular side cutters. These are big. You can see the difference in size. Okay, so these are what I have. I have other ones. I have small ones like this also, but not here. It's at the bench. I have to go get it, and I'm not getting up. So again, you can put this under here and wait for it. Squeeze it. Did you hear it? Click of success. Okay, so you might be able to grab it with these. Yep, see, just like that. There's one. Once you get that much of it off, it's probably just as easy to use your screwdriver and pop off the rest of it. Put that out of the way. Oh, look, it came off. What do you know? Okay, 3 down, 1 to go. So if you're going to break any of them, this will be the one. All right, so does everybody remember how to do this? Little screwdriver under the push nut. Try to keep it in the frame. There we go. All right, little one underneath. Bend it up. Little cutters. Oh no, let's not do little cutters. Let's do needle nose, big blue needle nose pliers, the ones that we pried the wires off with. Put it under the bent part of the clip, grab it, wiggle it, and see if you can break the push nut by bending it back and forth. Did you hear the click of success? I did. So once it goes click, it's split off on one side. Grab it, and it flew somewhere over here. So here it is. That's the most intact one out of all 4. Guess what? Now the speaker cone comes off. Wait, can't see it. Here's the speaker cone. Oh, look. And it's brand new, so it's all nice and clean and shiny and everything. I can guarantee you that when you take your patio speaker cone off after it's been outside for 15 or 18 years, it isn't going to look like this. It's going to be all light brown and tan and water stained, and it'll have holes in it where bugs ate it and all that kind of stuff, and that's why you're replacing it. And if you're getting a replacement speaker cone from us, you got a speaker cone that looks a lot like this, because we take our genuine NuTone speaker cones and we coat them with the wet look, which is a material you put on paper speaker cones for outdoor use, and it makes it UV light and waterproof, and it'll last a long time. And you can see that's exactly how NuTone used to do it. So I didn't invent it, I'm just copying what they did. Anyway, so we got it off, and look, we didn't break any of our posts. They're all intact. So now we're going to pretend that, here's our brand new speaker cone we got from Northside Service Company. It's all treated with the wet look. It's been tested, and it works perfectly, and we're all ready to put it in place. So all you have to do is you have to put it back over the 4 posts. And remember, the speaker connections go at the top like it was before. If you put them on the bottom, it's not going to really hurt anything, but you know, I like keeping things original. So now all we have to do is we have to put our new push nuts back on. So the way I like to do this, and I'm going to do 2 of them, well, no, we're going to zoom in so you can actually see. Alright, so this is the top corner. So we have to take our rubber insulating sheet and we have to put it back over the post. Wrong post. This post, like this. Okay, and then we take our brand new little push nut right here, the one that's hard to hold on to, keeps falling down right there, and you put it with the center where it's pushed out, pointing up. So it's like a little volcano. See the little volcano part? Okay, you put it over the post like that, and you just push it on a little bit so it stays there. It doesn't fly across the garage floor. And the way I like to do this is I use a little nut driver like this. Say it's a little nut driver. This happens to be a this is a 7/32 nut driver, and what you do is you put the nut driver over the push clip like this, and you go push, and it locks it in place. Now we're going to turn it around, and there's the second top one with the rubber gasket. And we're going to do this here also, just get that started a little bit. And if you listen really carefully when it goes down, did you hear it go pop? That's the pop of success. You got it locked in place. Now we'll turn it around and we'll do, where to go? There it is. That's number 3. Guess how we're going to do that? We're going to do that exactly like we did the other one. Get it started, put the nut driver on it, and it didn't pop, but it did go down. At least I think it went down. There we go. It was caught up on the little standoff for the mounting screw. Now it went pop. Alright, this is a precision fit here. And where's our last one? It's being hidden. There it is. It was hiding under the rubber gasket. Alright, so we'll put our last one on just with our fingers to get it started. And I hope you're all paying attention because it's the last one. Push it down. New push nuts on unbroken posts with our brand new speaker cone. The last thing we have to do, or the next to the last thing we have to do, is we have to put our wires back on, and all we have to do is slide those back onto the connectors like that. So that's all done. Now we're going to walk it back over to our blazing hot white stucco wall with the sun beating down, and you have sweat streaming down your face, and you got to put your sunglasses on, otherwise you can't see anything. We're going to hook our wires back up just like they were before we took them off. So if you have NuTone wire, it's red, red, white, black, black, white, orange, orange, white. If you got the Earl Special installation, you got violet and brown and what else did we have? We had yellow and something and blue and white. I don't remember. But all you have to do, see, I can't remember, and I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've just been sitting here doing a speaker cone for 10 minutes, and I can't remember what the order is. But fortunately, I wrote it down on a piece of paper, or I made a drawing, or I'll go consult my smartphone, because, you know, it costs $800 to have a smartphone, and you might as well at least take a picture of it so you know how to hook the wires back up. That's the ins and outs of changing a speaker cone on a metal grilled IS419 NuTone patio station. And as they would say on TV, Larry, this one's for you. I hope everybody who watches this finds this helpful and informative, and maybe you learned something. If you did, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you will get notifications when we post new videos. We try to do at least one a week. I hope they're interesting. Maybe you'll learn something. I try to be informative and not too much of a smart aleck when I make them. That's all for today. See you on the next video.